Welcome back to Never Bored with George. I'm your host, George, and today I'll be giving you my review for The Batman, which comes out March 4th everywhere. My God, guys, The Batman really pushes the edges and boundaries of what it means to be superhero cinema or superhero film, whatever you want to call it. The genre of the superhero movie has changed. The Batman does everything right in developing characters, adding and taking great things from the comic books and the source material, as well as giving something new to the storyline as well for the Batman. Now, if you don't know, the Batman isn't connected to any of the main DCU stories and the DCU movie timeline, so it's not really connected to the new Flash movie, Black Adam, or Aquaman that's coming out, but it's its own standalone movie, kind of like how the Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was, and I love this format for DC movies going forward. We already know that DC isn't good with the cinematic universe aspect, but when they were making this movie, guys, oh my God, I love that it's not connected to anything. It's its own Batman story in its own Gotham City with its own Batman, and it's beautiful. What I love about this movie, guys, is first and foremost, if you're a huge Batman comic book fan, this is a movie for you. It does a lot of things right when adapting for the Batman comic book storyline. I think the big three storylines that they added for this movie would be Batman Year One, Batman Ego, and Batman The Long Halloween, particularly the Long Halloween-esque storyline. But another thing I loved about this movie is definitely the setting. Guys, the Gotham City in this movie is nuts. It's a degenerate crap hole of a place where it really feels like somewhere where Bruce Wayne has to fight for the city and heart of Gotham, because my God, guys, it's like the city is its own enemy. The movie feels like it's dark, decrepit in the areas of Gotham City, and I know Matt Reeves filmed this in London where it's usually gray, not a sunny out, but it really does have an impact on this movie because Gotham City, in every movie that we see in a Batman movie, Gotham City is its own kind of personality in a sense, and this movie is no different, but it takes a more literal darker approach to Gotham City. It's a crap hole, it's a degenerate, it's full of crime, and it's almost hopeless, and the only thing that's kind of propping it up is a Batman that doesn't even know if he is really making an impact for Gotham City. And my God, guys, that brings me into what another thing I love about this movie is the characters. Robert Pattinson's Batman did a phenomenal job in this movie. It is a more of a fresher take on Batman because this Batman is only 1 or 2 years into his journey as the Batman. Batman in his second year is trying to be this imposing fear of vengeance, and yet he's only year 2 and you can tell he's still kind of grabbing the beats as the story goes along. He's still learning, he's still growing, and we see that growth in real time in this movie. This Batman is driven, focused on being truly vengeance for Gotham City. It really shows how much of a recluse Bruce Wayne is in the movie, but how in Robert Pattinson's case, the Batman, that main personality, the alter ego, really takes center stage. And we put so much focus on the movie on Robert Pattinson's Batman, and it's such a treat to go along that ride because you really see a Batman who's going up against the odds in a city that's constantly fighting back against him, and it's so good to see this Batman do his work. What I really love about this movie is Alfred. He really takes great stage as a supporting role for this movie. Andy Serkis's Alfred to Robert Pattinson's Batman is a great dynamic. It's kind of like a reluctant father-son duo in a sense where, you know, Alfred is really trying to help Bruce, but Bruce is in the state where he doesn't want or need any help or even ask for it. But we all know that Alfred has a special place in Batman's heart, and that really takes shine in this movie as well. Guys, we can't talk about the Batman without talking about his villain, so let's get into it. Guys, this movie does such a great job with the Riddler, guys. It's a unique, fresh take on it. I know a lot of the memes are about, you know, hey, guess what? We gotta find some Riddler trophies, but this movie really takes, you know, the Riddler to the next level in a more modern sense. The Riddler really is like the combination of some of the best villains that we've seen in cinema, particularly some serial killer flicks, right? It's like a mix of Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and any maniacal, crazy, methodical character that has an intent to harm someone. The Riddler really amps it up to the next level. I mean, just trying to solve some of the puzzles that he has for Batman is honestly another, you know, world of itself. So guys, really pay attention to the Riddler on this one because the Riddler does a great job. I believe Paul Donnelly, I don't know his name, but the guy who plays Riddler is amazing. Brought to life a Riddler that isn't, you know, like the Jim Carrey campy Riddler or even so much the crazy character that began in the Arkham games that is focused on Batman finding trophies, but this version of the Riddler really plays off Batman really well. Even though like it's mostly Batman trying to like find and get the Riddler, they have a great dynamic between each other, so it's fantastic. What makes this movie really great is how the story is put together, where how it puts Batman in these different scenarios where he's up against the odds and he has to really come up with his wit and use his actual detective skills to get out of these situations. My God, guys, it is nuts to say the least. It just seems that like the Riddler is the most new level of threat that has come to Gotham that's unlike anything Batman has seen before. And in a lot of different storylines and movies we've seen too, that statement still holds true because the way that how methodical methodical the Riddler is, it is insane. Batman really shows what the cream of the crop of what a comic book movie could be. What really drives this movie is the individual moments we have with these characters, as well as seeing how these characters handle pressure when it comes to fighting an adversary or outsmarting them, or just even trying to catching up to the adversary and figuring out what their plans are. In each moment, in each step, it feels intimate where we are with the Batman. I love the way Matt Reeves and his team filmed this movie, because it's in the Batman world, it can be hard to kind of follow along with what's going on, because sometimes these characters just feel so outwardly, but in this movie you kind of feel each story beat, each clue that's found, and each time we feel something with Batman. We're right there with them, because the way they film it makes you feel a part of the story, feel a part of Gotham, and a lot of movies haven't brought that sense in terms of scope, scale, and story, especially when it comes to comic book movies. It does such a great job of just ignoring the excess and just keeping what makes Batman good and making that great in this movie. What's great about this is intimate, dark, brooding, personal, and it's so good to see a movie that's willing to take these risks and be unapologetically Batman, but also unapologetically cinema as well. Thank you guys for watching another movie review for Never Bored with George. Guys, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe for more MMA, anime, and other reaction content. We got plenty more on the way. Guys, we have a huge UFC card coming as well that we're going to be covering on the MMA portion of our channel. Jorge Masvidal versus Colby Covington, biggest grudge match in UFC history. Former friends turned bitter enemies. One of the best fights a fight fan could ask for. We already have a prediction up on the channel. I'll link it up here. Stay tuned for our reaction for that as well, guys, because it's going to be a great fight to say the least. Guys, thank you guys for watching Never Bored with George. I'm your host, George. Y'all have a good one. Peace.